What is your political vision about the racism situation in Portugal? Well, listen. This is a question with an answer in it. So, are you asking me if there is racism, or are you asking me what is my opinion about the racism? See what I mean? Because I believe, like every country, there is, and right now there's a boiling situation. We've had a lot of those in France. Does it mean that it is systemic racism against the people? Listen, I don't like buzzwords. Systemic this, that, racism, like the whole country is like, no, listen. I lived in France for 32 years and I've been in Portugal for 13 years. It's not a perfect country, but it's not worse than France. Depending on your point of view, of course. If you are a rich person and you live in the nice neighborhoods, you don't have it the same as if you are in a bad neighborhood. So I believe that it's a country that has a lot of way to go. But I cannot say or not say that it's a racist country. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. And same thing, I cannot say that the police is racist because I never met a racist cop in Portugal. Does it mean that they are not? No. Does it mean that they probably are some? I don't know. 90%? 50%? 10%? 5%? I don't know. Most of the ones that I met in my neighborhood, of course, or even elsewhere, I've always been courteous and I never had a problem. So I cannot just come and listen. You know me, I'm not an emotional person, so I don't take situations in an emotional way. Somebody gets shot. To me, it's not about where does he come from. Was he Cape Verdean, Angolan, Congolese, X, Y, Z? To me, first of all, is what was the situation. That's the way I try to assert situations. How did we get there? So, is it incompetence? Is it anger? What is the role of police here? The police of the police. Are they gonna investigate the situation to understand what happened? Like, I know in the US they all have cameras, so that whenever they say such and such happened, you can have images that prove the claims of whoever shot him. Now, from what I understand about this particular situation, right? From what I understand about this particular situation, there was somebody that apparently was I don't know. Listen, I didn't know about him, but he was a chef. Came out of the club apparently under the influence of of alcohol, something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then there was a police checkpoint. He didn't stop. There was a car chase. During the car chase, he hit a few cars, etc. Then apparently when his car was out, he came out and the cop says he had a knife, so they shot him. So if this is the case and this is how it happened. I believe that if somebody has a knife, you're not supposed. So if they have a gun, it's different. But if they have a knife, you're supposed to shoot them in the arm or in the leg or something, neutralize them, but not kill them. Now, when this type of situation happen, and it's been the same in France, you're gonna have two points of view, right? I remember there was a big, maybe 20 years ago. When was it? Yeah, probably 20 years ago. But listen, France was on fire. It was two kids that were running from the cops from, I don't know what they were doing exactly, how, why, I don't remember the exact context, right? But I believe the context is always important. These two kids, they were running from the cops in Paris, and listen, I can't say if what was the problem, but they were running from the cops. And as they were running from the cops, they decided to hide inside of a government facility. And what they didn't know is that this place was like an electrical outlet, something that very dangerous. But they decided to hide in there. And when they hide in there, they got electrocuted, because it was like those big electrical thing that you're supposed to not touch. Both of them got in there. Both of them died instantly. All right. Everybody went crazy. Listen, everything around Paris was chaos. I remember even CNN was talking about this, and everybody was angry. Everybody was emotional. And again, some people were saying, well, it's because of the cops that they were running after them. But then some people were saying, but why were they running after them? Oh, because they did such and such, but they don't deserve to die. They don't. But why were they running? Oh, because they did such and such. Okay, so where does the story begin? The story begins when you do something bad and the cops are after you, and then you hide somewhere, and then that place is sadly the wrong place, and then you get electrocuted. And for a lot of people, the story begins with they dead. And to other people, the story begins with you stole something in the store, and that's why you were running. So, and of course, everybody agree. I mean, some people don't, but do you deserve to die for that? No. Now, do you have a responsibility in it's, and then that's where the points of view differ, right? And you have to be very careful when you talk about these things in these situations, because people are so emotional that if you say anything that go against whatever they feel, oh, they come in for you. So how do you overcome this situation? With dialogue. I believe that, this has always been my belief, and I understand that some people might feel different than me, but I'm gonna speak for me. I believe that if you burn the bus that goes in your neighborhood, or you burn the bus stop that is in your neighborhood, or you burn the car of the firefighters, or etc., you are actually shooting yourself in the foot, because who's gonna suffer from the lack of service in your neighborhood is you, or your mom, or your cousin, or your little brother that's supposed to go to school. And when the crowd goes in anger mode, the crowd becomes very stupid and they don't understand. Listen, what you need is justice, and you need a law to be independent and to investigate properly. You need the family of the victim or associations to have good lawyers, and everybody that is marching, that is angry, donate so these guys can have a good lawyer. And then you need the person that is the head of the cops to also be honest and not just protect his people, even if they're wrong or not. It has to be an impartial communication and investigation, so that we can understand what happened, and if the people who killed a person were in their rights according to the law, then they must be left alone because they were doing their job. If it is proven that these guys didn't have to go that far, and they didn't need, or there was no danger for their life, anything that with the law makes that they shouldn't have killed him, then they have to be held accountable. They have to be judged, have to have their job removed, and then go to jail or whatever, be indicted for manslaughter, etc. That's what I believe. So listen, try to stay peaceful, march peacefully with intelligence, and if you have people that have their blood boiling, don't let the people calm them down. Don't let them do something stupid that would be to the detriment of their own life or the life of their neighborhood. It's already hard for everybody. Try to just it's not easy to keep a cool head, but I believe that's what has to be done. But it's a point of view of somebody who tend to have a cold head, and I always try to understand the whole situation and not just be emotional and just go and march and be angry and put everything on racism and etc. Which I'm not saying it's not. I don't know. And listen, maybe the people know more than me. So if they do, what I say is not relevant. But we are in a world now where people love the gaslighting of the masses. So you have to be careful and try to understand what happened. Like really the first thing is trying to understand what happened, and then pray for the family of that person who left 3 children. This is horrible. This is so sad. And then, listen, how did it happen, and not who is to blame, but try to understand the whole situation. I believe. I don't know if you agree with me, because I know that in this type of moment, people are like very angry. It's you have so many situations like these, for example, where in France it was this summer that everything went crazy. It's a kid, and it was a kid. I think he was on a stolen car, and there was a stop again, and he didn't want and, he tried to force to stop, and there was a cop in front of him, and in the panic of the car coming to him or on the side of him, I don't really remember, the cop shot him, and he died. Oh, listen, France went crazy. And again, the people on the left were like, yeah, you are killing us, da 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 da. The people on the right were like, the car was what? Stolen? So, wait a minute. So you are telling me that it was on the stolen car? Yeah, but he was only 17. The car was stolen. And you have to be able to understand both point of views. Like, because listen, imagine now that you get this car that was stolen, and the kid that was there runs away from the cops, and there's a little girl that is there that didn't ask nothing to nobody, and she get hit by the car and she dies. Now, what are you gonna say? Let's say that, okay, and now look at the difference in the scenario, right? The kid in the car was Arab. The cop was white. So everybody went to the racism straight, right? Now imagine if the kid in the car is still Arab, but the cop is black this time and shoots him. Is it racism? Is it abuse of power? People, what do we do? People are still, everybody's looking for their slogan, right? And to politicize the sadness of people. Now imagine if the kid in the car is still Arab, but now the cop is black or white, but instead of shooting him, the cop just jumps on the side, and the guy just go in the street and then hit a little girl. Now, let's say the girl is white. Yeah, listen, everybody's gonna go crazy. Everybody's gonna say, yeah, you see that black people, right? Now imagine that the kid in the car is white, but all his friends are black in the car. The cop is white, and then he passed the stop, and then the little girl that is crossing the street is black, and she dies. Is it racism, or is it an accident, or who? Like, now do we blame the guy with the car? Like, us as people, as a culture, are we able to be honest with ourselves when our people do mistakes? And I'm not saying this for this particular situation. I'm saying this as a general thing. See what I mean? And that's where, listen, you never know. You never know, because you can see how I'm telling you the same story. I'm just changing the color of the people, and all of a sudden, like, because there was this story where everybody was yelling racism, but it was in the US, until we discovered that the 4 cops that killed the person were all black. So then people were like, how is it racism? And now, yeah, but because they're part of the system that is, I was like, yo, guys. So, and it's the same thing with that situation with the kid, and it's horrible. Listen, having your kid 17 is a baby gets killed because he was in a stolen car. That's horrible. But he was still in a stolen car. and he still forced a checkpoint. That was the French story. In the Portuguese one, that was his car, but apparently he didn't stop at the checkpoint.